been a while, I know, but sadly I had other things to take care of on a personal matter, but you guys don't need to hear about that. All I will say is I went to Texas and found out that those cars are not made with turn signals, because no one uses them. Plus, all their highways look like a Fast and Furious film, and I cried as I flew back on a airplane, because I don't like flying. It's terrifying. I probably shit my pants, but my daughter fell asleep shitting her pants as well, because, you know, that's what babies do. But anywho, I'm Mr. Anderson, and welcome back to Detective Jake Hunter. Crash and Burn, episode number 3. I actually kind of forget where we left off with this one, but I'm pretty sure we're going to figure it out without much of a fuss. It was supposed to be like any other Sunday following an all-night bender. An old friend of Yulia's had invited us to a bike race in the Centuri circuit. But instead of relaxing day at the races, all we found were shattered friendships, hatred, and murder. The man we'd come to see, Sabin Olsen, had crashed his bike during the race. Or so we thought. It turned out that Sabin's apprentice, Tucker, had taken his place on the track. He'd done it so at Sabin's request, but Sabin himself seemed to have disappeared in thin air. Sabin's wife Carrie had also been missing since before the race started. Yulia and I visited the Centuri Inn, hoping to find Sabin and Carrie, but instead we found the scene of a murder. Keegan Yates, the dead man, had a bit of a rocky history with Sabin. I had been trying to block Sabin's transfer to Team Turnsdale. It's never nice to see a guy bumped off, but Yulia was taking it worse than I was. After all, every victim and suspect so far had been a friend of hers back in high school. Just when I thought that Sunday didn't have any more curveballs to throw at us, Rio showed up, apparently investigating Yates' murder. I felt like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, swept up by a tornado with no idea where it was going to spit me out. That's how I feel like every day now. We have a pandemic going on. Cities are burning. It's like a tornado where we have no idea where it's going to spit us out at. Chances were, when did it let go of me? The only color around, when it did let go of me, the only color around would be red. Crash and burn. The only sound in the lobby were the quick clicking of keyboards and the occasional shuffling of newspapers. Irvin was still interrogating Crowley and Tucker. I was taking a moment to explain what happened that day to Rio. Very interesting. I just finished when Yulia pushed her way through the double doors into the lobby from the hospital proper. Oh, it's Rio from China, FBI or something, I don't know. So, Mr. Shisu, give me some good news, babe. Tell me that cop's done asking his questions. Yes, sir. He didn't really have much information to begin with. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't just a little bit happy about that. Thanks for the good word, babe, but if you could just give Rio and I a moment alone here. Actually, I would like Miss Marks to hear this as well. I believe that it concerns her too. What could he mean by that? Huh. Okay. Let's talk. To Rio. Alright, Rio, what's this favor you wanted to ask me? It concerns a case I'm currently investigating. I have need of someone who's more familiar with this country than I. What is it that you're investigating? I was pursuing a corporate spy. He'd been purchasing sensitive information from a trader in the Chinese company for resale in the United States. Spy. An industry spy. Maybe he's trying to get the secret recipe to bush beans? Maybe it's the dog. Do you know his name? Yes. Well, come on, Rio, out with it. There was something strange about how Rio was talking. I was in pursuit. Why past tense? He was killed. His name was Keegan Yates. Ooh. I forget who Keegan Yates is. Who was that? Yates. Mr. Yates. You sure Yates was the spy you were after? Of course. Oh, he was the dude that was murdered in the hotel room. His source in China had already been taken into custody. Confession led us directly to Mr. Yates. Corporate espionage, huh? Sounded like Yates had gotten himself into some pretty rough rough waters. Of course, his business like that usually paid pretty well. Had that been the chief source of his money? If what Rio was telling me was true, then Sabin was starting to get some serious competition for chief suspect in Yates' murder. Yeah, I think a corporate company would have more reason and more of a platform to find someone to murder someone else. Maybe Yates was laced by somebody else in the corporate sector. Maybe Sabin was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. That is a possibility. But myself and my superiors are in somewhat unfortunate situation now that Mr. Yates has been eliminated. He was our only lead in the United States. With Mr. Yates dead, catching his employers would prove difficult. What do I want to talk about? Leads? Then I take you don't know who he was buying from. No, we don't. We may have arrested his source in China, but as long as there are willing buyers in the United States, the problem will persist. Same thing with the immigration crisis over the border. People cry and yell. I know this gets a little political, but the people who are crying and yelling are also the same people hiring those illegal immigrants. It doesn't make much sense now, does it? There are plenty of people who can replace Mr. Yates. This is why I would look to ask for your assistance in locating the American company that has been dealing with Mr. Yates. A foreign agent, such as myself, faces certain limitations. The local police are only as helpful as the law requires them to be, no more. A certain fellow came to mind. Yeah, I can see your point. No, I'm not going to accept it, sure. I mean, it's a but thou must situation. Alright, I'll help you out, Rio. I don't know if I'll be able to help you much. Irving doesn't seem real fond of me either. But hey, looking into this thing with Sabin Olsen anyway, might as well give a friend a hand. I wonder how much Jake Hunter charges for his services. He doesn't really seem like he's well off. He seems like he's always on that line, but appreciate it. But he does a lot of work for, like, well, as we're saying, he does a lot of work for the police department, and he does a lot of work for, like, foreign governments, so he's got to get paid pretty well. I believe that you were doing an exemplary job, Mr. Hunter. I will return to searching my own sources for Mr. Yates' clients. Maybe they just take advantage of his love to, like, you know, deduce and shit like that. And they just don't pay him anything. They pay him in cigarettes and scotch. Rio said goodbye to Yulia, and I retrieved an unhappy Irving from Tucker's room and left. Maybe we talk to Yulia, yes we can. Did you ever hear anything about Yates' job after high school? No, nothing. I didn't really. Yulia's voice suddenly stopped. I saw her eyes widen as she heard the lobby doors open. Excuse me. I was told that Mr. Crowley would be here, and Oh, Mr. Crowley. Gang. Okay, sorry. I turned around just in time to see the man who stepped through the door. Stop mid-sentence. He just stood there for a moment, staring at us in shock. Yulia? Ewan? I mean, Mr. Tidwell. Ewan? It was every day I saw... It wasn't every day I saw Yulia at a loss for words. Who the hell was this guy? Mr. Tidwell. What do they want to talk about? Tidwell. Let's talk about Mr. Tidwell. Looks like you and Yulia know each other. Yes. My name is Ewan Tidwell. I was a friend of Yulia's in high school. I didn't think this was how we'd meet again after all these years. Why, he's here. You thought you could meet on Tinder or something? So what are you doing here? I was in Capital on business, but I heard about Sabin on the 3 o'clock news and rushed back to Centauri. I heard about Sabin's accident, about Keegan. I went to the racetrack and they told me that Sabin's manager would be here. So you're friends with Sabin and Yates? Yes. Yulia, Miss Marks, Carrie Olsen, Mr. Yates' younger sister, Sharon, we were all... Tidwell trailed it off, lost in thought or perhaps regret. After a moment he blinked and was back in the present. Do you think I can talk to Mr. Crowley about Sabbath? Yes, he's in Tucker's room over there. Although I should warn you, there's a cop in there. Irving might not be happy about your visit. Really? I suppose the police are eventually going to examine Sabbath's connection to Keegan. Better they do it now than later, I suppose. Tidwell was about to leave for Tucker's room when I put a hand on his shoulder to stop him. Tidwell? Think we could have a little talk later? I was hoping I could ask you some questions about Yates. Yes. I'll get in touch with you when I'm finished here. Well, he was going to leave my cell phone number to do that. Oh, give him a handy-dandy business card. Whip it out, brother. I pulled out a business card. Feel free to contact me here. Every time I see this business card, I think of the scene from American Psycho. Alright, I'll talk to you later then. I watched Tidwell pocket my card and head for Tucker's room. Alright, let's see what Yulia thinks about it. What did I want to talk about? Tidwell. So Tidwell was one of your high school friends, huh? Yes. Mr. Tidwell and Mr. Yates were both in Sabbath's classes. Yates. You think Tidwell might know anything about what Yates had been up to? I'm not sure. Mr. Yates distanced himself from everyone after what happened to Sharon. I haven't heard from Tidwell in a long time. In fact, I don't think I've heard from him since high school. I guess Carrie probably told me what I've been up to, though. Yulia was still talking when I noticed Crowley step through the doors and into the lobby. Boy, I had no idea the police were that persistent. Crowley, I guess. Did you talk to Crowley? Well, it looks like I've got you into more trouble than you probably bargained for. I didn't think it would go this far. Hey, don't sweat it. All in a day's work. Hey, that's good to hear. Crowley clapped his hands together suddenly, as if he remembered something. You guys are going to need somewhere to stay. It'd be a nightmare trying to drive back to this mission this late. Yeah, it sure would. Let's see. Well, we reserved a number of rooms at Saturi Inn for the racing staff. Perhaps you could use those? I suggested the same thing to Mr. Tidwell. Well, thanks, Crowley. We're much obliged. It's been a long day. Things calming down a bit. We're starting to remember that hangover I've been nursing all morning. Damn. I guess we could go to Saturi Inn then. Yeah. We put Crowley in the AC's clinic behind us and set off for the inn. I sank into the driver's seat with a sigh. What a day. I wish I'd never let Yulia get me out of bed. By the time we got back to the hotel, I was just ready to pass out, and Yulia had already dozed off a couple of times. It's not that late out, it's still sunny. They could have at least edited the photo or taken another photo to make it look like it was dark. I managed to convey to the young man at the front desk that Crowley had told us to stay in the CCR rooms. He promptly handed over the keys. Alright, babe. You get some sleep, alright? I handed Yulia one of the keys and gave her a tired smile. Of course, sir. I watched her walk to her room and open the door. I've lost friends before, but it ain't easy. I didn't imagine suspecting your friends of murder made it any easier. I wanted to run over to that door and tell her that Carrie and Sabin were safe, and that there was nothing for her to worry about. But I couldn't. I hope I'd learned something from Tidwell that would let me do that. I was out like a light the moment my head hit the pillow. I woke up around noon the next day, threw on a suit and headed down to the lobby. I checked Marcy in the elevator. Tidwell hadn't called me. I figured I'd give it a little while longer. It's quiet. I was sitting on a couch in the lobby, enjoying my continental breakfast. Oh, I fucking love continental breakfasts. They always have those awesome waffle makers, and for some reason eating out of those little like cereal cups that they have there and drinking that whatever orange juice, it's just so satisfying. And it was today when Yuli stepped out of the elevator. I'm so sorry, sir. I overslept. Well, it's alright. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let's talk to Yulia. Get her some breakfast. Well, it's about time. I've been waiting for you for hours. No word from Tidwell, though. If you've been here for hours, sir. May I ask why your breakfast is still warm and unfinished? As far as Mr. Tidwell, however, perhaps we should call him. Oh, well, I didn't exactly ask him for his number when we met, so I don't think we're going to have a lot of luck there. As always, sir, your incredible foresight pulls through. Yulia absentmindedly ran a hand through her hair. Damn, she's being a cunt this morning. I can think of 3 ways we might be able to get a hold of Tidwell.
Ask Mr. Crowley?
I guess our best bet would be just ask Crowley. We'll ask him which room he was arranged for Tidwell and have the front desk call, give him a wake-up call. Assuming he's still here, of course. That's true.
His parents?
Hey babe, you have the number for Tidwell's folks? No sir. I suppose I could call my parents and have them look up Mr. Tidwell's parents in the phone book. That seems a little roundabout. I'm pretty sure too that the hotel had the phone book as well. At least at this time when the game was made, they probably did. Let's tuck that away as our last resort, shall we? Yes, sir, I think that's a good idea. How can we get a hold of Tidwell at the front desk?
I don't know if they would, like, allow that to happen.
Yes, yeah. Work for Sabin. Maybe it'll work for Mr. Tidwell, too. Ah, crap, it won't. Why is that? Tidwell was staying in one of the CCR rooms just like us. I doubt the front desk even knows his name. Oh, I suppose you're right. We were mulling over what to do next when Marcy began the ring. That's gotta be. I pulled her out of my coat pocket and glanced at the screen. But instead of a phone number, all I saw was restricted. It's just a prank caller from the IRS. Restricted number. Great. Hello, I'm calling because I am the IRS and we want to make sure that you give us our money. What is your name, sir? Bob. I don't think your name's Bob. I hit the talk button.
I'm gonna get a bunch of, like, hate comments for that invitation.
Is this Tidwell?
But that's how they sound, alright?
I'm terribly sorry. I overslept. Are you at the hotel? Yeah, we were in the lobby. Okay, I'll be right down. I heard the phone clatter on the hook, then the line went dead.
Well, they couldn't have slept in that late because usually the free continental breakfast,
like, they end at 10, so this has to be before 10 o'clock in the morning. And here I'd been worrying you wouldn't call.
Is he down? Usually we have to look around here.
Considering someone had just been murdered here, the inn seemed exceptionally calm. What's Yulia have to say about this? That was Tidwell. He said he's sorry you overslept, and he's on his way right now. I'm glad he gave us a call. Yulia looked relieved, but also somehow embarrassed. Interesting. Maybe she never got a call back from him. I looked over at the elevators. The door slid open. Mr. Tidwell stepped out, his eyes scanning the lobby. As soon as he saw us, he rushed over. I'm sorry I'm so late.
I guess we can talk to him now, right, Tidwell?
This morning. Hey, don't sweat it, pal. Happens to the best of us. Well, just the same. The police wanted to ask me some questions last night. I needed to call my boss and tell him. So it got pretty late. I was planning to contact you this morning. But I just... Oh, dude, don't worry about it. Let's get down to brass tacks here. You know Yates. I want to tell you about him. The police asked me the same thing, but I don't know very much about what he's been up to recently. Keegan really just distanced himself from all of us after what happened between Sabin and Sharon. Damn, really that fucking butthurt about this? Do you have any idea what line of work Mr. Yates was in? No, I don't. Although I was surprised to hear he was planning to acquire a motorcycle team. What was Sabin's relationship with Yates? I know it's not my place to say, but it was very bad. I didn't think it was so bad that Sabin might kill Keegan, but... Motive. Then you think Sabin killed Yates after finding out what he was holding out what he was holding back Sabin's career. Keegan blocking his transfer to Team Turnsdale might have been the final straw. Every time I think Turnsdale, I think of Turd. I don't want to believe it, but would you say that the team might have been shitty? Interesting. For anyone who didn't know about Yates' job as a spy, Sabin seemed the only reasonable culprit. It didn't look like I was going to get anything out of Tidwell. Well, thanks for your help, Tidwell. I'll let you know if I need to talk to you again. I don't know if I was really that helpful, but if we're done here, I'll be on my way. Maybe I'll see you around. I had the feeling he was talking to Yulia, not me. Maybe he doesn't want to see me around. Talk. Yulia. Great. Tidwell didn't tell us anything we didn't already know. Is that so? Well then, perhaps it's time we left the inn and continued our search elsewhere. Yeah. I remember something. Learning about Yates' job had changed the game, which meant there was someone I had a few new questions for. He managed to get away the day before, but I decided it was time to try and talk to him again. Kenneth Turnsdale. With their deal about to go through, Turnsdale must have at least been in communication with Yates. Now that I knew about Yates' job, I had a few more questions for Turnsdale. Okay, let's go talk to, Turnsdale. Turnsdale ran off pretty quick last time. I got a few more questions I'd like to ask him. That's a good idea, sir. But I don't think he was staying at the hotel. He's probably long gone by now. Oh, right. Any idea who might know where he'd be? Perhaps Mr. Crowley would have that information. Good idea, babe. I'll give him a ring. Use the phone. What you thinking about? I pulled out Marcy. I dialed the number for Crowley and hit call. I wonder how they did this in the original version of the game, because there wasn't cell phones at the time. Hey, it's Calvin. Unless he had one of those brick ones. He was trying to hide it, but I could hear the tension in his voice. It's Hunter. You got a moment? Oh, Mr. Hunter. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Was he waiting for someone else's call? You got any idea where I could find Turnsdale, the owner, not the team? Mr. Turnsdale? Probably back at his pit on the track. His team's hosting a track day. I bet he's at the track getting ready. Thanks, pal. I think I'll be heading back to the city once I'm done talking to Turnsdale. Okay, understood. I'll expect to hear from you soon, then. Yeah. The tension in his voice. Could he have been maybe expecting another call? That's why he was so tense. I closed Marcy and stuffed her back in my jacket pocket. Yulia gave me an expectant look. Sounded like Turnsdale at the track. Well, in that case, I guess we'll move to the track? Yeah. Get in the pit and try to build someone. I'll drive this time. Are you sure? Yes, moping around isn't going to help anyone. Come on, sir. Don't just stand there staring at me. It's embarrassing. Yulia spun on her heel and headed for the parking lot. She seemed like she was all right, but he couldn't help wondering how much of that was real and how much of it was an act. Come on, Yulia hasn't talked to these people in a long time. I doubt that they would be that affected by it. Still, we had a case to solve, and I was hoping that Mr. Turnsdale would be able to give us some new information. Yulia and I arrived at the Turnsdale pit. At first glance, it was almost identical to the CCR pit. It probably was because they just were too lazy to take a new photo of a new area. With no race going on, however, it was pretty quiet. What did I want to do? This isn't the actual same photo. I'm impressed. Okay. Let's inspect the area. One or two members of the team Turnsdale were moving around the pit, doing something. We found Turnsdale himself right away. Let's talk to him. Looks like that's what he's doing perpetually. Hey, Turnsdale, think you could spare a few minutes for a few questions? You again? I've had enough of you. Oh, come on. I won't take up much of your time. I was just hoping you could clear up a few things about Yates. That's what I say to my wife at night. Come on, I won't take up that much of your time. Maybe about 30 seconds. Yates' job. best way to get someone to talk. It makes people uncomfortable. Turns that was no exception. Fine, fine. If I don't talk to you now, you're just gonna badger me until I do. Yeah, the honey badger don't give a fuck. I suppose there's no need to keep it secret. Mr. Yates was the president of a business consulting company. He provided operation and management advice. So you're saying he just sat behind a desk and acted like he was doing work? No, the more money you make, the less work you actually do. So that was his front. You don't believe me? It's true. So that was his front. So where was this consulting firm of his? Over on the coast. We hadn't made anything about the acquisition formal, so I'm afraid I don't know the exact address. But if you can afford to buy a team as expensive as mine, and let me assure you, it is expensive, then he must have been well off. Things were going good. Turns out I was talking, and I was getting somewhere when I farted. Hey, detective, what the hell do you think you're doing here? Irving, everyone's favorite officer of the law. Get out. Playtime's over, dick. How about you let a real detective handle this? Dude, you're one talk when you got an ass chin. Get the fuck out of here, you douche. I had about enough of that son of a bitch, and I was about to pop him one. Cop or no, when Marcy started to the ring. Talk about police brutality. I brought me back to my senses. I settled for a sneer in Irving's direction and retreated out of the pit with Yulia. Yeah. I pulled Marcy out of my pocket. She wasn't ringing. I was about to ask Yulia what the hell was going on when... Oh, excuse me, it's mine. Yulia squinted at the number on her phone and their eyes went wide. She cleared her throat and shot me a glance, then walked a few steps away and opened the phone. That's an interview that she has. She's expecting a call back from it. She held the phone in both hands, almost like she was afraid to drop it. Hello, is this Carrie? Carrie? Yulia's voice was quiet. I didn't think Irvin and Turtsdale could hear what she was saying, only me and Carrie. Yes. Yes. I understand. Alright, you need to stay there until we show up, okay? Her voice was stern, but there was something almost maternal about it. As she put the phone away, Yulia looked at me with a confused expression. What the hell had she just heard? It was a bunch of really crescendoing farts. The phone call just now. It was Carrie, sir. She says she's going to be going back to her home in the city. That was quick. Well, why'd she do a thing like that? I'm not sure, sir. She was in quite a state, honestly. I'm amazed I got as much out of her as I did. But if I had to guess, I'd put my money on following Sabin back to the city. Wait. Well, at least we know Carrie's okay. Following Sabin? I realized I was already heading for the parking lot. Babe, we need to get back to the city. Yes, sir, I think we do. The two of us scrambled back into Yulia's car. The car sped down the highway, weaving in and out of traffic. I'd hoped for a break, but this... I didn't know what it meant. Just hope it didn't mean that Carrie was in danger. If Sabin killed Yates, would he really hesitate to kill again? I don't think he'd kill Carrie, though. The Olsen house was nestled away in a quiet neighborhood in California on a steep hill. We barely even pulled up to the curb when I saw a woman throw open the door and come running towards us. Yulia. Carrie. I guess we can talk to Carrie? So you're Carrie Olsen. That does not look like any house in America. Yes. Think maybe you could tell us what's been going on here? Yes, oh, please come in. Yulia and I followed Carrie up to the walkway to the front door. I really like the Japanese homes because they do have those walls around it. As she opened the door and showed us into the living room, I tried to get things straight in my head. I had a whole hell of a lot of questions. The room felt cold and empty somehow. It was furnished like any other upper middle class home, but all the furniture and decorations just felt like things. Something about Carrie looked out of place as I felt. What on earth had happened to the poor girl to keep her from feeling at home in her own house? So, Awkward. Oh, sir, please go ahead. Actually, doll, I was thinking maybe you should handle this. After all, you were Carrie's friend, and I'm just some detective. Oh, or her now. She's got some luscious lips in this photo. She just does not look like that way in here. I suppose you're right. Very well then, because she also has short hair in this image. I turn back to Carrie. There are many questions I need to ask her. Let's talk to Mr. Hunter real quick. Sir, you better talk to her, babe. Okay. What do I want to talk about? Oh man, we just had a sex change. Carrie, tell me about what happened at Satiri. Sabin and Mr. Yates, at the Satiri Inn. Wait a minute, Carrie, you aren't saying... Yes, he killed Mr. Yates. Oh my. What? Oh my. Sabin. Are you sure it was Sabin that killed him? Yes. I saw Sabin come out of Mr. Yates' room. He was acting strange, so I looked into the room. And I saw Mr. Yates' body. Did he actually confess to killing him? Maybe he looked out of place because he just walked into a room with a dead man. What did you do after you saw Mr. Yates' body, Carrie? I didn't know what to do, so I followed Sabin, but I lost him pretty quickly. I thought maybe he would go back home, so I came here, but I guess I was wrong. Phone call. Then that's when you called me? Yes. I looked everywhere I could think of, but I couldn't find him. I didn't know what else to do, so I called you. Goodness, Carrie, why didn't you call me earlier? I'm sorry, please forgive me, William. I just didn't know what to do. Carrie? Please forgive me, William. I just didn't know what to do. Mr. Hunter. Sir? Thanks, doll. I think I've got a pretty good handle on the situation now. Would you mind if I asked you a couple questions, man? No, go ahead. Alright, let's talk. Carrie? What do I want to talk about? Carrie's actions. I understand what you saw at the end, but what I don't get is why you went back there during the race. I heard that Sabin was going to meet Mr. Yates. Did Sabin tell you? No, not really. Well, then how did you find out, if you don't mind my asking? I overheard Sabin talking on the phone with Thomas Tucker. 3 days before the race, Sabin was asking Thomas to take his place in the race because the meeting with Mr. Yates was really important. I knew something bad would happen, but I couldn't bring myself to talk to Sabin about it. Yates' room. So on the day of the race, you waited outside of Yates' room for Sabin to show up. Well, actually, Sabin never told Thomas where he was going to meet Mr. Yates. So I just followed Sabin after he left the track. How? He took his own bike and I got in a cab and followed him. I think Sabin took off on his bike after he left Mr. Yates' room. At least I know that when I checked the parking lot later, his bike was gone. You said you looked for him every place you could think of. Yes, I looked everywhere. I was going to ask Mr. Tidwell. My last hope. Why would Tidwell know where Sabin's going off to? Good question. I don't really know if he would, but they've been friends since high school. Carrie looked up to me as if she'd only just noticed something. Wait, Mr. Hunter, you know Mr. Tidwell? Yeah, we ran into him in Satiri. Well, I'll tell you what. I've got a couple things to ask Mr. Tidwell about myself, so I'll just ask him if he knows anything about Sabin. You know, tomorrow's a weekday, so I guess we better go pay a visit to his office. You wouldn't happen to know where this is, would you? Oh, Yulia doesn't know? I thought they would have kept in touch. They were an item back in school, you know. Ooh, Yulia and Tidwell. Well, that new tidbit certainly went a long way toward explaining Yulia's behavior when we ran into his old beau. I gave Yulia my most surreptitious glance. She was looking pointedly at anything in the room that wasn't me. Yeah, that's right. You guys broke up when you went to study abroad, didn't you? Yeah, he went to go study another abroad. Yeah, up until then, you two were pretty...
I saw Carrie's eyes widen as she suddenly noticed the tension in the room.
Actually, I showed up the business card Mr. Temple gave me. After some digging around, Carrie pulled out a business card and handed it to me. Agus Co. Limited. General Business Department, Management Division. Corporate Planning Office. Public Relations Section Chief.
That's a lot of fucking titles.
Magus Company, huh? Guess a big corporation needs big job titles. There was no way I was going to be able to remember all that gibberish. I needed to write it down. Chrono Trigger. Magus. I pulled out my notepad and copied down Tidwell's address, phone number, and position. Missionary. Or donkey. I had a feeling that information would come in handy. I handed the card back to Carrie. Okay, well... I guess we can talk to Yulia. What did I want to talk about? Carrie. Babe, about Carrie.
Man, my frame rate's dropping. I don't even know why.
Sir, should we notify the police? Yeah, we should probably let them know. Then what about Sabin? I don't know, babe. I know what it's looking like, but I still feel like it's a little early to say Sabin's the killer. Sir, well, think about it. Carrie never actually said she saw the Sabin do the deed, did she? Sir, are you saying that maybe Sabin... But the probability is still extremely... I just couldn't bring myself to say it. Yulia and Carrie look so hopeful. Couldn't ruin that. The police. They're a good band. It's getting late. We can go to the cops tomorrow. I don't think there's any real hurry at this point. Yeah, I suppose that's true. Very well then. I will stay here tonight and take Carrie to the police station tomorrow. You, sir, will need to find somewhere else to sleep. Alright, babe. Counting on you. Said goodnight to Yulia and Carrie headed for Telko's office. Damn, she's harsh. She's like, you're gonna have to find somewhere else to sleep. By itch. The more I learned, the more it started to look like Sabin wasn't the chump who diced Yates. The problem with that was I didn't have the first idea who ought to be next to the suspect list. Tidwell. At least we found Carrie. I hope Tidwell would give me something to work with. I have a feeling it is. It's Tidwell. A gargantuan building rose up before me. I saw light glinting off the thousand upon thousands of windows. Magus Company Limited, one of the biggest brokerage firms in the country. I come to Magus to pay Tidwell a visit. What did I want to do?
Let's enter the building, I guess.
I started towards the three-story entrance. It was farther away than it looked. It wasn't exactly my kind of joint, but I go where the investigation goes, and in this case, it went to Magus Company Limited. So Yulia's ex worked for a big company in a bigger building. Probably got an even bigger salary. I tried not to think too much about how that was making me feel and quickened my pace. The lobby was an imposing affair, all shiny marble and echoing footsteps. But footsteps were the only sound I heard. The people moving to and fro did so silently, as if everyone was terrified of drawing undue attention to themselves. That's how it is in a corporate situation. I had to stifle the urge to yell, just to shake them up. I think that would be a bad idea. The lobby was huge, and there was almost nothing in it. With space as such a premium in the middle of the city, it almost seemed wasteful. I could barely even see the receptionist desk. As I approached, the receptionist rose from her chair and greeted me with a smile. Hello, baby. Too bad we can't. There's no breast physics in this game. I guess we talk to her? Hey there, Dollface. I was looking to talk to Tidwell. I think you might be able to help me out. You know I say some gross things, but I don't actually say it to the people, and that was fucking skeevy. Hey there, Dollface. You and Tidwell, correct? I'm sorry, but can I have your business card? I hadn't expected them to ask me for my business card. I wondered why they wanted it. Security, maybe? You know, these business cards aren't cheap. I took out a business card. I wasn't sure how he'd act once he knew I was a private dick, but he was going to find out sooner or later anyway. I think he probably already knew. Is this okay? Yes, department Mr. Tidwell is a part of? Mr. Tidwell's department? This wasn't exactly why I'd written it down. Answer. It wasn't that long ago. Please provide the division. There you go. He's in the general business department. General business department. Now may I have the division name? Oh, fuck you. Management division. He's in the management division. The management division. May I have the office name as well? Oh, you guys are fucking assholes. Corporate planning office. 2 words that don't make sense. He's in the corporate planning office. The corporate planning office. I apologize for having to ask again, but may I have the unit name as well? Oh my god, PR unit, Jesus. He's the public relations unit. The public relations unit. Please wait a moment while I request it. She picked up a phone and started dialing. Finally. Thank you for your patience. He will be here shortly. Please wait a while longer. I guess we can look around. What the hell was taking him so long? Was Tidwell trying to piss me off? But again, the place was so damn huge, maybe it really did take that long to get from one side to the other. At any rate, I couldn't really do anything about it. Nothing to do but wait. Ellipses, ellipses, ellipses. I've been standing around like an idiot for 10 goddamn minutes. It was starting to look like the son of a bitch wasn't going to show. I couldn't believe Yulia used to date this guy. He was such a flake. I mean, it probably takes a while to get from like the 30th floor down. Will it be much longer? Please excuse him. Because our facility is quite large, it might take a while. It will take Mr. Tidwell at least 13 minutes to get here. 13 minutes? It takes at least 4 minutes from the closest department, chief executive counsel for the headquarters personal management. It takes up to 18 minutes for the farthest department, head of managerial operations, secretarial affairs for the board of directors. I see. Maybe there was a reason for that. Like, maybe there's a reason they told us that, like a context in the game. After 3 more minutes of examples from the receptionist, Tidwell finally showed his face. Hello, Mr. Hunter. Thank you for taking the time to come here today. Mr. Tidwell, let's give him a talking to. Hey, Tidwell, I got a couple of questions for you. Well, if there's anything else you need to know, that might be useful. You know I'm ready to help. But the lobby really isn't the place to discuss this. Why don't we go upstairs to the lounge? No, there's no need for that. I've only got a couple questions. Alright then. It'll take about like 13 fucking minutes to get there. Can you think of anywhere in the cities where Sabin might go? Sabin in the city? But yeah, Sex in the City. Sabin in the City, the new hot TV show. Tidwell thought for a second. His eyebrows furrowed and then looked back up at me. You think Sabin is back in the city? In the city. Oh, yeah, it seems like there's a pretty good chance he's running around here somewhere. I see. Well, that makes sense, I suppose. He's not from Centurion. It would be hard for him to hide out there. For a moment, it looked like he might have thought of something, but then he shook his head. No, I can't think of anything. So even Sabin's best friend doesn't know where he is. I'm sorry, I can't be any help. I'll let you know right away if I can think of anything. As Tidwell yammered on, I noticed a man clearly walking towards us. Mr. Tidwell, is this a client? Oh, sir. Mr. Hunter, this is my boss at the corporate planning office, general manager your department. Now it was time for him to explain to me who this Mr. Arden was. This is Mr. Hunter, the private detective who's investigating Mr. Olson's case. Yes. Mr. Tidwell told me a lot about you, Mr. Hunter. Talk. Arden. Me. Sorry to take him away from whatever you've got him working on back there, but I had a few questions I needed answers. No, I don't mind at all. I just happened to be passing by, saw the two of you, and thought I'd say hello. You must be going through quite an ordeal with this job, Mr. Hunter. I've had worse. Tidwell must be a pretty special guy. Section chief at such a young age. That's practically unheard of. Mr. Hunter, it's not like that. Our unit consists of me and an administrative assistant. Blasphemy, Mr. Tidwell. Joviality didn't suit Martin. Mr. Tidwell is our most highly anticipated rookie, Mr. Hunter. I don't want Yes, I have. He accompanied me on the visit to a major client in the capital on Sunday. I feel like I'm talking a lot like Snake. Solid Snake. What did I want to talk about? Maybe like I'll get a call from Hideo Kojima for his next game. So we were both in the capital on Sunday when the murder happened. It'd be fucking awesome. Correct. We had closed the deal and we're watching the news when Mr. Tidwell suddenly went white as a sheet. One of his friends had gotten into a motorcycle accident and another had been killed. So I told him to get to Satiri as quickly as possible. Mr. Arden looked at his watch and realized something. Oh dear, we need to go to Mr. Tidwell, or we're going to be late for our meeting. We need to go, Mr. Tidwell, okay? Not go to Mr. Tidwell. Tidwell did his simpering best to apologize. I'm sorry, but I really need to go. Yeah, sorry to bother you. Tidwell gave me a kind of awkward wave and left with Arden. It was looking like my visit to Magus was going to be a bust. Oh well, I figured Julie and Carrie had gone to the police and come back by then. There wasn't much for me to do other than head back to Olsen Place and see if they'd turn up anything interesting.
Alright, so let's move outside.
I headed for the lobby exit, which I had just learned would take me outside in just 3 minutes. Things hadn't gone too well. Tidwell claimed he had no idea where Sabin might be. I didn't know if he was being straight with me or being gay with me, but there was no real way to be sure. He did look like he wanted to kiss me at some points. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Yulia was going to be disappointed when I told her that Tidwell hadn't told me anything. I wasn't exactly looking forward to that. I stepped out of the Magus building and headed towards the parking lot. It was time I checked in on Yulia and Carrie. I learned quite a bit the past few days, and I was still struggling to make sense of it. As I began the long walk to the parking lot, I tried to get some facts straight in my head. Why doesn't he just call Yulia? Or did Yulia just change her number so, Jake Hunter would stop calling her at weird times at night? Call her a dollface. Let's think. I took a moment and let my mind wander. I thought back on what I have found out so far. Someone I hadn't expected to see had shown up in the AC's clinic. Oh, Ryo Hisu. It had been Ryo Hisu. Good old Ryo. I'd met Ryo for the first time in Depono on a case. He was a Taiwan officer. Chinese officer. He was an employee of the Chinese government. Ryo had asked me to help him out with a case he was working. The case was corporate espionage. He was investigating a corporate espionage case. The spy who had been selling Chinese secrets to American companies was someone Yulia knew. They were Keegan Yates. Yes, it was Keegan Yates. Mr. Yates was obtaining information from the Chinese side and selling it to the domestic company. The domestic buyer was...
I don't think we know who the buyer was.
Neither Ryo and I had any idea who'd been buying the secrets. In fact, that was what he'd asked me to investigate. After Ryo left the AC's clinic, another one of Yulia's old friends showed up.
I mean, I really don't care about companies who do this. Because, I mean, it's a corporate company. Who gives a fuck? They're going to make a shit ton of money anyway. Just let them do their thing. I don't understand why we're wasting money on, law enforcement coming in. He was.
Ewan Tidwell. It was Ewan Tidwell. Tidwell had said he'd heard about Sabin and Yates when he was on a business trip. Where was Mr. Tidwell on his business trip? Capital City. Yeah, it was the capital city. Mr. Tidwell found out about the case from watching the news on the TV. This news was broadcast at,
I forget, I think it was 3 o'clock.
Yeah, it was 3 o'clock news. I asked Tidwell what things were like between Sabin and Yates. I think he said it was very bad. Yeah, he said it was very bad. So far, Tidwell had known both parties better than anyone else I talked to. He told me he thought the chance Sabin had killed Yates was probably pretty high if their relationship was that bad. He didn't like it, but he felt there was a pretty good chance it had been Sabin who bumped Yates off. I caught him with turnstile to ask him a few more questions. Eventually, I got him to spill the beans on Yates' front business. He said he was Consultant. He was the president of a business consulting company. Turnsdale didn't know the address, but he told me Yates' company was... Vegas? On the coast. Yeah, on the coast. While I was grilling Turnsdale, Yulia got a phone call neither of us was expecting. The person who called her was... Carrie. Yeah, it was Carrie Olsen. The lost Olsen twin. Carrie had followed someone back into the city. Who had she followed? Sabin. Sabin? It was Sabin Olsen. Carrie was convinced that Sabin was guilty of the crime. The crime was... murder. Yates' murder. Carrie had seen Yates' corpse after she watched Sabin leave his room. Carrie told me something about Tidwell and Yulia. Something about their relationship in high school. Their relationship was... They were a couple. Yulia and Mr. Tidwell were an item when they were in high school. I visited the firm where Tidwell worked to try to get some info from him about Sabin's possible whereabouts. I don't know, I think Tidwell is the murderer. The company's name was? Magus Company Limited. Yeah, he worked at Magus Co. Limited. What does LTD mean, like limited mean, to be honest with you? If anyone knows that, let me know. While I was at Magus talking to Tidwell, his boss dropped by to say hi. I know a lot of LARPs I've been to had like the LTD at the end. His boss was... I know what it stands for, I just don't want to know what it means. Who was Tidwell's boss? Yorick Arden. Isn't that the name of like a restaurant chain? Like a restaurant company? Yeah, some chump named Yorick Arden. Arden confirmed that Tidwell had been in the capital at the time of the murder. How convenient. At that time, Arden was... business trip. Accompanying Tidwell on his business trip to the capital city. What an alibi. Usually the people with the strongest alibis are the ones that murdered somebody. When Tidwell heard the news, he wanted to go over to Sateri as fast as possible. Oh, sent him off. What had Arden done? He sent him off. He'd sent Tidwell off to Sateri. That was all I knew at the time. I guess we can move back to the Olsen house? That's where we were going, right? I felt like I had a pretty good handle on things. I turned the key in the ignition. If only Sabin would just turn himself in. All that work was hard. I returned to Olsen's house. The neighborhood was as quiet as relaxed as ever. I had been gone quite a while. I figured Julie and Carrie would have been to the police station and back by the time I returned. The only thing we can do is inspect. Doorbell. That's new. Next to the door handle was a simple doorbell. Although I'd been here before, it seemed like it would have been bad form just to walk in. Push it real good. I pushed the doorbell. I heard a soft chime sound somewhere in the house. I stood and waited for a few minutes, but no one came to the door. Maybe my guess had been off. Didn't look like they'd come back yet. I gave the doorknob a shake, but no dice, it was locked. So much for that. As I was turning to return to the car, I happened to glance through the living room window. She's not wearing any socks. Her feet must be cold. Why would she lie on a hardwood floor? Someone was in there. Shit. Maybe she just had she's bleeding, okay. Or maybe she was making pasta, who knows. Carrie was lying on the floor in the middle of the living room. Her body was limp, and I could see blood streaming from her head. What the hell had happened? Wait, where was Julia? I had to get inside, but how? Let's break the fucking window. I usually try to avoid breaking and entering, but Carrie didn't have much time left. The glass was too thick to break by hand. I needed something stronger. A rock. If I used a rock to break the glass or unlock, I could safely get in. There was a rock sitting next to me in the yard. Good enough. I slammed the rock into the glass near the handle. It made a sound halfway between a thud and a crack, and a few lines appeared in the glass. I hit it again, and a chunk of glass spider-webbed with cracks fell onto the ground. I shoved my hands through the hole and unlocked the latch. I threw the door open and leapt into the living room. I struggled to lift Carrie off the floor. She was almost completely limp. Carrie, are you all right? Her eyelids fluttered at the sound of my voice. Where are you hurt?
Oh, just around the bloody spot.
Mr. Hunter, tell me if you see a radio shack. Good, she was still breathing. Her breath staying. Hang in there. Calling an ambulance right now. As I frankly dug in my pocket for Marcy, I felt Carrie's hand on my arm. What is it?
Sabin is.
But before she could finish, her body went limp, and her eyes fluttered closed. What? Sabin! He couldn't possibly have attacked Carrie and left her to die, right? It's a little cold. How would Carrie listen desperately for the sound of sirens?
Oh, she's been killed.
I wonder what will happen next. Did Sabin really murder Yates and carry his own squeeze? But we'll find out next time on Detective Jake Hunter, Crash and Burn. I'm sorry for the long wait, guys. I won't be updating videos as much as I was before. I think work's going to start back again, even though it's a bad fucking idea to reopen states, especially since everything's fucking spiking with coronavirus. But hey, what do I know? Companies got to make that monies. So it might be a little bit harder for me to record videos. But I hope you guys understand. Thank you for being my subscribers. If you did like this video, please like, comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe, because it makes me feel good and make sure you have a good night. Good night.